other global matters that are not of our making. We advocate for African solutions for African problems. We took time to thank you for the role that you have played as Kenya in helping to resolve the conflict in Ethiopia between the Ethiopian government and the Tigrayans by deploying former President Uhuru Kenyatta to be joined by former President Olusegun Obasanjo of Ethiopia and former Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka in fostering peace between the two belligerent parties. We were grateful that there was an understanding and a peace agreement that was reached, and we're glad that Kenya did play a very key role in enabling that to happen. And this lives up to having African solutions for African problems, because we have the necessary expertise, experience, the wisdom, as well as institutions and leaders who are able to help our continent to resolve problems affecting Africa. Kenya and South Africa share a common commitment to strengthen and capacitate the African Union to carry out its core mandate of social and economic development of the African people. We have called for global solidarity, fairness, and a rules-based international system, and the reinforcement of multilateralism, which Kenya and South Africa support greatly. And Kenya and South Africa are aligned on the need also to reform the United Nations system, in particular the United Nations Security Council and the transformation of institutions of global governance. You and I have just returned from COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, where both of us and a number of African countries flew the African flag with regard to ensuring that there is a just transition, as many of our countries on the African continent are currently suffering a great deal from the ravages of climate change. As you correctly pointed out, the droughts that Kenya is experiencing now are unprecedented. And similarly, the floods and the droughts that South Africa is currently experiencing now are unprecedented. And this just goes to show that climate change is serious, but at the same time, we need to make sure that the more developed economy countries that have contributed greatly to the climate damage should be the ones who carry the burden of making sure that the loss and the damage that developing economy countries like South Africa and Kenya are properly compensated, and that those countries live up to the commitments that they have made. And thank you very much for congratulating South Africa for reaching the Just Energy Transition Agreement or deal with the 5 countries. But we also are firm in supporting similar deals to be reached with countries that are currently experiencing real great difficulties when it comes to climate change, countries like your own country, Kenya. It is our hope and conviction that our relations, President Ruto, will deepen and that cooperation will grow to cover a greater diversity of areas. And as you and I said, we've just scratched the surface when it comes to opportunities that lie out there, which you and I will be outlining to the business